We're back for our last best of three of the day, and it is another elimination match, an all-important one, as we've seen Movistar riders and Sinners fall on down during the best of ones. And for Movistar, they certainly got caught by quite a bit of a surprise in their game.
Oh yeah, absolutely, especially considering it was overpass. We gave them the edge there, but they really did not show up. Enterprise played with a lot of heart as well. They were active, they were playing to win. They weren't playing not to lose, they were taking risks. And I love that, because when you're an underdog, you can't just expect, to play the vanilla game, vanilla Counter-Strike, and outplay a team that has better individuals, right, more experience, they're playing against better opponents. You have to take some risks, have to make it uncomfortable for them, and that's exactly what they did, and that's why we have Movistar riders now facing elimination against a Sinners team that was also underwhelming.
And since returning to this full Spanish roster, obviously bringing on some rookie talent in the form of Sampayos and Devi. Sampayos being the revelation during the RMR and then slowly quieting down during the actual major. So I guess the LAN jitters do strike in sometimes to a team obviously with not a lot of LAN experience together, right? So that is also being put to the test here, I feel.
It's not just that, it just tells you it's the perfect example of pressure and what pressure is and how it affects. Movistar was an underdog even at IEM Fall, and especially at the major. No one is expecting them to do anything. So going into every game basically with no consequences for your actions in a sense, right? But here you were a clear and obvious favorite against a team like Enterprise that a lot of people, us included, haven't heard of, the players we haven't heard of, right? And then you can see the changes. I know I should, I feel like I should push here, or like do an aggressive play or ask for a flash. But do I really need to? Like, we're playing, Enterprise, what are they gonna do, and so on, and all of a sudden, round by round, the game is slipping away and you lost.
And the thing is, right, when we're looking at Movistar riders, they've got a couple of players that have been on this roster for a long time, right? Every iteration, whether it's the international one when they're playing full Spanish, now back to full Spanish again with it all. They've put their time in, they've got some of that experience with it. They're bringing some of these young players and they're going to try and show some fruitful results of it. And yes, like you said, Janko, at the beginning, things did look good for them. But now, for me, it's about how they reinvent themselves from here as well. Because like you say, people start to see their gimmicks, see what they're doing.
Yeah, and I still haven't finished that article from Lucas he did prior to IEM Fall about them. It's like, I don't know, it's like the Bible, the old one. But he was talking about Alex Mopos, the two standout names, and also Mopos is the X Factor, bit of a quirky guy, right? Likes to do things his own way, and he's also realized that he shouldn't really comfort himself to how other people think like the game should be played. He should just do his own thing, and that's when he's at his most effective. And it just requires his teammates to know how to play around that as well. So we'll have to see now, will they be able to find consistency with this lineup and some of these rookies? Can they step up to the challenge?
No, I had the pleasure of finishing that article. It took me about 3 or 4 hours, but I got to the end. Yeah.
I salute you. I'm impressed.
One of the interesting parts there is that, I don't know if you buy any of this, Costa really didn't, but apparently they don't really take strats from other teams, like they don't really have influence, they are just building their own strat book, which they just don't take over. Like usually you have teams, copying like a very successful strat or like modifying it somewhat, from an Astralis or from a Navi, but they are just basically bent on really building their own tactics.
I mean, I don't buy that either. In a sense of like, you're just playing, you're practicing, right? And you die to like a cool move that the opponent did, and you're like, oh, this is a cool move. Like, we're gonna steal this. Like,
no, you don't take it. You don't take it.
Why wouldn't you? I don't get that. It's like, if you're not doing that, you're hurting yourself, right? It's like what everyone does. Like, both of my teams, I had some of the best players, most tenured players in the world. They would steal things from other teams as well, and people would steal things from us. It's just how you do it. You don't have to do it 100%. You like the idea, this is cool, but then you want to change something a little bit
slightly,
because it maybe fits your players a little bit better. But that's what teams do all the time. They take things from each other, they evolve it, and that's how the meta is constantly changing. So I can appreciate the fact that they have their own identity and they like creating their own stuff. But I think at least for some small things like some flash plays, some maybe gimmick individual plays, for sure you're supposed to be, and I think that on some level they are also copying some of the cool stuff they see from other teams.
That is the way to success, right? You can't just reinvent the wheel the whole way around.
Yeah, just imitate your way to glory, James. That's like
Snap everything.
It's worked for most people in esports, so why not for Movistar?
How did I get here, you know? This is the reason I'm sat in this seat right now. But all jokes aside, we'll move on to Sinners as well, though. This was a brutal battering. Like, Entropic just ran straight over them. It was on a map where we thought we'd see at least some fight from it. Yes, we all put Entropic as the ones to be the favourites in it, but they didn't just look like the favourites. They looked like they were in a whole different league. And Sinners, they've had some games where we actually have confidence in them, but I'm starting to worry when they come up against these big team names now.
Yeah, Sinners being like practically harassed by Serbians all tournament long. The Onyx lineup, right, lost the opening game on Inferno against them, then bounced back against Ego, and then finally they had that very close like decider against Onyx where the nuke was like 16-14 in their favor. So really it's like very slim chances that they actually made it out. You know, it came down to a lot of like split-second things, and now we're looking at this and like this is their only opportunity to bounce back, really.
It really is. We're going to take a look at the head-to-head though that we've got up here for the players across these teams, and the two we're picking out this time are going to be, there we go, Oscar and Sunpius.
Yeah,
so
sense.
when it comes to this, not bad stats right overall, quite close together on this over. Oscar, more experience certainly with this. Sunpius was the one we started to kind of sing the praises of when we saw him come into this lineup.
Yeah, the two operas of the teams, obviously they're going to be the focal points, going to have a lot of impact. And interesting enough, even when they played at the IEM Fall, right, it was a 16-14 win for Movistar on Vertigo, which is like the Sinners. They basically put themselves on the map with Vertigo. They had some great wins there, and that's kind of what made them have to go into tiebreakers in the end, and then they lost in the tiebreaker as well. So unfortunate how it went down, because they had a couple of good wins at IEM Fall as well, and it does always feel like they're just on the cusp of it.
Yeah.
Pro League, same thing happened. They beat G2 in the groups in their opening game, but in the end they just couldn't make it into the playoffs. They were just one win shy. So it can take a toll on a team when you're just always so close to, you know, success and actually breaking through and just falling short at the very last hurdle.
Like for me, what's going to be really interesting in this matchup is the V2, because neither of these teams play Dust 2, so practically it's a question of who actually dares and goes for the first ban, right? Because will you risk, you know, not banning Dust 2, hoping the other team will ban it? Will you just play it safe, ban it first? You know, I think the ones who can really get the edge here in the V2 might end up taking it.
I would look forward to seeing how that will go down. I'm never a fan of seeing the team. Like, for me, I always want to see them, if they're going to be both banning the same map, if you're the first one, you just float in and let them do it.
I always wondered why teams would go for that when it's so clear. It's just, you know, just don't tweet to it. And they might, if they're smart, they won't tweet to it either.
Yeah.
And then it's usually the team who has the last ban in the second phase that does it. Or potentially, if you're feeling okay with the picks and what could be the third map, if you have to veto Dust 2, for example, then it's like, yeah, you can do it, and that's just fine.
Well, let's bring our teams on, and the first team to take to the stage is going to be Movistar Riders. And there you have it, the Movistar Riders taking their place on the stage, getting ready to do battle against their opponents in Sinners. And Sinners, well, they've been here, they've been very used to this setup and stage, but these games have not been pretty at all. Many ups and downs, many close fights, but can they get the win now? Well, let's find out when they come to the stage. let's get straight into that beta that we were just talking about. Let's see how this flotation of the Dust 2 will go and how it will be played out as we bring it on the screens. And ooh, it actually survived quite far. Movistar had to do it in the end, so they really did push it all the way.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, this is the way to go, really.
Yeah.
And in the end, Movistar, they had then Sinners didn't even flinch the second time around. They were just like, yeah, we're going to beat Overpass. So exactly, and they won out, and I like that. You know, too often do we see teams just waste a veto, right? Like, for no reason. Yeah, it's a risk that the other team is going to. But is a team really going to pick a map?
If it's both your instant ban, surely not, right?
Right. Like, so it just doesn't really make much sense, and I like how it turned out.
Yeah. Especially the first map on Vertigo. I think that's something which both teams like enjoy playing. You know, both of them have a bit of proficiency in it, so that should deliver for sure.
But we've also seen Sinners play Inferno quite a bit just at this tournament at the same time, right? So basically, they're both opening maps. I wouldn't say it's a coin flip. You would expect that still Movistar be favoured on this Vertigo, right? But there is a world of possibility. If Sinners can hit their shots, they can come in confident, they could actually be looking pretty good.
Yeah, and this Inferno does feel like a bit of a punish pick, obviously. Not really being the best map for Sinners this tournament, obviously. Not really having the same form of success that they had earlier, losing to Onyx in the opening and then losing again in the decider match. So we'll see how that one plays out.
Well, let's see the game, because that's what's coming up next. We know the maps, we know how it's all going down, so let's get back with Dinko and Hawker.
Thank you very much, James. I'm looking forward to seeing if Sinners can survive in this competition again, Hawker. They've been knocked down yet again into the elimination matches. They've been here before, they fought their way back, but it's not against an easier opponent. They are coming into this one as the underdogs. You know, you're looking at Sinners as a team that have not performed well at this event. They haven't performed well over the last 2 weeks. They're playing around this tier 3 competition. They're trading out series with them. They were a massive loss streak coming into this event. They're not looking that solid. And for Oscar, who is a previous winner here at V4, this is starting to look pretty rough for his chances of doing it again.
Absolutely, and this veto is somewhat scary for them. As Dralon pointed out, that Vertigo pick coming in from Sinners was actually the map that they played in the best of one back at IEM4, and Movistar Riders were able to win that 16-14. It's a map that Movistar Riders are no strangers to, so we need to see Sinners really impress us early on in this one.
And there is a little bit of a grudge here for the Sinners side as well, because Movistar Riders were the team that handed them the loss that really started their downfall at IEM4 and their chances of hitting the major, but it was also the team that beat them 4-0 in the tiebreaker as well. So Movistar Riders are really the team that snatched away Sinners' chances of heading to the major, and this is definitely a grudge match between these two teams. Sinners will be looking down the barrel and have Movistar Riders in their sights here at this event. We'll see if Movistar Riders will be again the black mark on the Sinners side as they get right into the pistol and be shocked straight away with a smoke and a flash. The rest going to be on Kevlar.
P250 in the hands of Oscar could be useful for long-range fights, but it's currently close quarters combat on mid.
Alex, he's going to try and play with some Pius, who is boosted up in middle. Needs to go get the first kill. Alex under a lot of pressure, only manages one in the round, but they're not going to check Davy G. Oh, he whiffs, but luckily comes back for at least one headshot. Now Death is having to fight two different angles, and Death will certainly do that. 2 headshots finally down to Neofrag's Glock. And now we look at Mopaz versus Neofrag in the 1v1 to start off this map.
No clue where this player's coming from. Mopaz knife out, gets his gun out in time.
Neofrag, certainly the second star in this team, looking to get Sinners off to a good start. Spotted out Mopaz, has dealt some damage. They're both flown out. Just a bullet or two away from death, and there's the shot landed, but Mopaz in with a headshot, close as you can get it. But it's Movistar Riders with the pistol win.
They stack the right side of the map. They have the majority of their players towards B and mid on the Movistar Riders side. And so that meant despite Sinners putting up a really solid fight there and landing some good shots, there were just so many players on that side of the map for the Spanish squad. They end up winning the fights well enough. Now with the bomb plant, Neofrag has instantly decided to go for that AK-47. So we'll see if the rest of Sinners follow up or whether they're happy leaving this as the hero AK. Looks like they do want to go for the full-on force buy with the bomb plant. It makes a lot of sense to try and put that pressure on early. It is worth mentioning though, Sinners in their opening game losing 16-2 against Entropic and getting basically no T rounds. They got 2 T rounds total. This could be a really nice force if they could win it early.
No, it could start from shock, and you know this game last time came down to just 1 round, right? So
that's open.
That's how close this game is going to be, but he is certainly open.
This is crazy.
Just one pick, Movistar Riders. Maybe they got the memo hawk, and maybe it wasn't a stack. Maybe it's just a 4-1 setup constantly. That's their default CT setup at this point.
The bomb's still not made its way onto the site, though, so there is time for the rotate. And at least one molly in the hands of Alex, but now that bomb's been planted, this retake could be really tricky. They might save.
Yeah, it looks like Movistar Riders have made that call to save.
Wild.
That's a weird round,
You
isn't
win
it?
the pistol, and then you have to save like this in the second round.
Yeah, it's just a gamble game, Hockey. You have to be safe when you're gambling. Everybody at home, be responsible. Movistar Riders have went all in, and this is what happens. Sometimes you lose it all. You're up one, you think you're a winner, you go again on the same, and you just lose everything, Holka.
You think you're a winner, but
You're actually
you
a
show
chicken
up.
dinner.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no chicken dinner for you. Where's the chicken dinner?
Do you like myself? Chicken dinner, have one of those. Here, V4.
So we're winners.
So we are the real winners here, Holka. Yeah, that's true. But 1-1. Scoreline evened up, and you brought up the point that, Sinners coming into this round, it would be massive if they were able to reply with a force buy win. Well, they've just done that. And Movistar Riders weren't even in the round, really. Just one player.
Yeah, I think it is important for Sinners here that they do some early success on the T side here on Vertigo, because their T side has been somewhat lackluster at times, in my opinion. You will oftentimes see Oscar AWPing, and he will so often be really far back. So if the early round just falls apart, it's always a shame because you don't get to see Oscar, one of the stars of the team, really have impact. Here comes some fights up ramp, though, and the flashes are good again.
And Alex trying to swing out from behind sandbags. He's under a good bit of pressure now as he tosses the smoke out to his right side, and the nade goes in. Double kill from Alex's Itchy, though. 3 kills in the round in quick succession, and they're all from Itchies.
Much more presence towards A this time. Movistar Riders have been dynamic with their CT setups. They've brought it back to a good position. Look at the damage done to the Sinners players too. All of them are fairly low.
And Beastic's going to molly out that boost. He has a good Molotov to try and force some Pius into an uncomfortable position. Pius decides the smoke is better for the job.
Oh, nice.
Davy G, good peek into Shock. At short with a follow-up, Davy G starting to clean up this Sinners side. Just one player left, and it is Zedko, who's going to try and win this 1v3 clutch. Plenty of players to go and find here, though. And Davigi is aware of the slip-through play that Zedko might be making, and Davigi will collect himself a massive round. And Davigi is one of the players, Hawk, that's been a little more quiet statistically for the Movistar Riders.
He's already up to 4 kills on this map, and that's what he got in total against Enterprise. So that's a really good sign for Movistar Riders early. Hopefully not for his sake.
Personal best here of V4 coming up in this next round, Hawker.
It was a well-played round by Davy G, though, and mainly the communication on that flashbang looked very good for Movistar Riders, because he starts spraying and he turns away from the flash just as it comes in. So that's just perfect timing on the turn away. Good to see Movistar having a successful round holding that A side of the map, but now it's Death's turn to be tested on B.
Well, let's see if he's really tested at all. Zedko just walks right into him, wasn't even aware of the stairs play. Oscar certainly is, though. Good trade coming in, nice headshot.
Passed the Zedko test, but apparently the Oscar test is a bit harder. I need to revise more for that one.
Yeah, Oscar has a lot of history in it all. There's a lot to remember about Oscar.
Ooh. They don't have proper eyes on mid here. At least it could start to sneak up construction. You can see some Pius watching CT, also trying to watch construction occasionally. But if the timing's right, Sinners could really make the most of this aggressive position, and they just heard that drop down.
Oh, some Pius might have just signed his death notice. He's going to be looking up in towards construction. He's not able to get a kill. Davy G with a headshot to Beastic has kept it even, though, at the 3 versus 3, and Shock's going to slip the way down through construction. Alex quick to trade it out, as now they forced their way in towards the site. Oscar held back from getting the bomb over to the site right now, and they're smoked it, but it hasn't worked. The smoke hasn't been extinguished, and now the rest of the Movistar Riders players have arrived over. It's now 2 players playing towards B. Neophyte's committed to the bomb plant, but Mopaz knows he's got a 1v1 fight close by, and in fact he's taking damage. Neophyte goes down, and now it is just Oscar. Yes, we talked about his history, but now can he clutch? Can he find himself a 1v2 to put his team in a good spot? And the answer is just no. Mopaz swings into the open, removes Oscar from the round. 3-1 for the Movistar Riders. Good start here on Vertigo from the Spaniards.
It looked like Neofrag might have been expecting Oscar to watch that aggression for him, but Oscar was actually watching the flank for a considerable portion of that round. So that's part of the reason why the CT is able to sneak up onto the site. And Neofrag, having just planted the bomb, was in a very difficult position.
Yeah. You know, Movistar, I'm happy they went to the major in terms of Spain finally getting a shot at a world championship and showing some representation, because I'm sure you're a fan of many other sports, Hawker, but Spain is largely a great representative for Europe in international sports, but in Counter-Strike, it's never really been the case. And Movistar, a huge organization to represent them. They own a huge cycling team as well. It's a great organization to back them. I'm glad to see some results coming out of the side once they've gone back to the full Spanish nationality.
Probably a good move for both parties too. Smooya getting to Fnatic seems to be going well for him. Movistar Riders going to Spanish is going well for them. And they're proving that right now up against the Pistols in this round. Not much getting done here for Sinners.
You've always got to bring it back, Hulk, to how it's working out for the UK boys, don't you?
No, I said it's working out for Movistar too.
Yeah, there's always a way back to the UK. But 4-1. And the Movistar Riders will be very happy with this start. You look at the money here for Sinners, they've got plenty of cash available. They'll be able to get AKs out. I do love the Mopos fan on his hand. Like, he's got a little... Look, he's drying off his hand. You see that? It's like making sure it's nice and dry. Maybe someone should tell him about, like, tape you can put on your mouse. Just doesn't make it not slidey. Or a towel.
Tape on your mouse that makes it not slidey.
Yeah. Gives you a little bit more friction.
I'm trying to figure out what that means.
So you put the grip tape on your mouse, all right?
Okay.
And it basically means if your hand gets sweaty, it doesn't slide over the mouse. Because a lot of mouses are like, a lot of mice are like obviously glossy in effect. So your hand can get sweaty and then slide off. But if you put some grip tape on it, you'll be all good. I don't really do that personally. I just don't have sweaty hands.
There you go. It's an option.
I don't sweat enough in the game, you see, Hawker.
Not trying hard enough then.
Yeah, you can probably tell. There's a little boost coming up for Zedco, getting him into a good position. Deaths will always be here, Hawker. I don't know if you've watched too many of Movistar's demos, but this guy is always here, all the time.
Yeah, it seems like Movistar have the site anchors, and then they're very dynamic with the way that other players play. Because this is a round where we've got, a few players towards B and mid. Sometimes you're seeing 3 or 4 A stacks early. I'm loving how dynamic these CT setups have been. You've always got to be careful with that boost up too, because your gun barrel can sometimes poke through the wood and give it away. So Zedco needs to make sure that doesn't happen.
You just look out over the skyline. You never turn inward. Shock elsewhere has taken some pious. At the beginning of this, he's claimed his soul as we go 44 seconds in Deaths. Oh, he's going to check it. Zedco, he gets reacted onto. Deaths takes him out. 4v4 now with 35 seconds left. And Sinners, where are they going to go with this one? Are they going to rely on Shock to make a little bit more space and try and open up an opportunity into this round? Or what are they going to do?
Yeah, they need a call right now. 25 seconds. They're finally starting to group up. Beastic still trying to sell some presence over towards A, but Deaths has left the B bomb site. It looks like that's where the bomb is trying to end up right now.
They might decide to play retake. They're trying to maybe find one pick on the way across the crossing, but they've just smoked off the left side of Generator. Deaths has been caught. There was a gap to play with the right side. He's been able to find one. Mopos coming in. The time on the bomb plant denied by Mopos through the smoke. And Davigi comes in alongside Alex to take away the round. Sinners just with no idea in that round of what they're doing. No clear game plan.
A couple of players die after time too.
Did they double smoke the right side of the Generator? It looked like it because they didn't have a smoke on the left side.
Yeah, I heard 2 smokes landing.
Yeah, so they double smoked the right side of the Generator, and so therefore didn't have a wall of smoke, so that allowed Deaths just to stick around. Even he gets traded out, but there's enough damage done, enough kills and time wasted, and chaos for Sinners in the late round. If you're going to play this slow playstyle, Holker, your late round execute has to be perfect.
Yeah, you need to know exactly what you're doing, and it's also a scenario where because the bomb gets denied, 1 second left, look at these kills after time. $300 on 2 separate Sinners players.
Rip.
Oh, you can see a dejected Sinners team right now.
Not got a lot of money. Maybe have to sit on the street, beg a little bit, see what I can find.
Anyone know how to play an instrument? You can start busking.
Do you know how to play an instrument, Hawker?
No, absolutely not.
No.
You think I have talent?
I mean, it's just the title
Bold
of your job.
assumption.
Just a lie. I play the flute.
He used to play, the flute. Yeah. I thought it might have been the recorder, to be honest. But.
No, not the recorder. Come on, man. It's a little bit more advanced.
I don't know about all the musical people. Like, I don't know if a flute is an insult or if it's a good thing to be playing.
No, the flute's pretty complex.
What do all the cool kids play? The drums, maybe? Drums are pretty
drums. Cool. Yeah, cello's pretty cool. I like the cello.
Okay.
The oboe. It's like a thin clarinet with a little squeaky sound to it. Educating here. But here we are. And it was Sinners with not much to play with, which is why we're talking about orchestral equipment, otherwise known as instruments.
Maybe they can make the Deagles sing in this round.
Well, they would have to hope for some crazy plays out of the Deagles here. I don't know if they have the conductor to pull off this massive play. 50 seconds. As now Sampaio peers down below. B-Stick's about to peek into the AWP of Sampaio. Again, the devs are touching on how he has been the revelation for the side at the recent Armand. The Mage, they kind of cooled off a little bit to the increase in opposition. And everything coming out at him. I don't think the Movistar riders were quite ready for the level of opposition at the Major, but definitely got a lot of people talking about them when they went to the RMR. Before that, I was actually a little worried about this move because when I look at the stat lines, Hawk, it didn't really add up to really scream success at me, but I was wrong. They did show a good performance at that event.
They've done a really great job at finding the up-and-coming talent in the region. I mean, as you said, Sampaio has just been a player that for a lot of people has come out of nowhere and really announced himself on the world stage. So it's great to see his level of play continuing here with a couple of pretty good shots against the Pistols. Here comes the buy and an early kill. Zedko finding an early pick for Sinners, and that is exactly what they were looking for after a bit of a dry streak here.
It's been real dry. Maybe need to figure out how to lube it up a little bit.
Moisturize, I was going to say, but that's where you want to go with it, sure.
I mean, we don't always have to have that connotation of lubricant, Hawk. You know, maybe your wheel in your car needs a little bit of spray on it. Who knows? But here we are, round 8. Anyway, moving back into this one. The Sinners have got themselves the man advantage. They've kind of lubricated the round a little bit for themselves here.
Yeah, we heard the desk talk about how Mopoz likes to make his own plays too, likes to be a player who's very free to make these sorts of plays. He's going aggressive and it works out.
And the smoke comes in just at the right time as well, so it prevents the instantaneous trade kill. So Mopoz trying to get back. He's even sticking around to fire a few more shots to the smoke. But yeah, that's a little extreme. You know, you're firing all the tracers in, and then you decide to peek out from cover while you're reloading and just die.
At least you have the silenced M4, but still, it is just so dangerous to stick around like that. And I think that sums up Mopoz's playstyle pretty well. Did he have the AK?
He had an AK.
I apologize.
He had the gold AK.
Ah, so flashy I couldn't even see it.
It's the bling bling. But here comes the smokes in towards the site. Flashes up as well, and Alex looks to peek around the corner. Can get behind him, 4 players here. As Alex is peering over the ledge itself. 15 seconds left. Alex starting to peek down into the site. B-Stick was up at the top of the boxes. Neofrag with a close, quick kill. And now they're looking to try and plant the bomb here. Sinners, 8 seconds left. They've left the time low again. And luckily, Zedko comes in with a shot, and the bomb is down. Death's unable to get the second shot off, and Shock just about pulls Sinners through.
Bit more success on those early fights this time. They get them out advantage. They get some control. Even though Movistar did contest ramp, it was a nice play to get that kill ahead of the smoke, but getting spammed back is always a danger. That was that first kill from Zedko he missed. It was out towards B that he got the initial frag. Then they slowly but surely take the ramp control.
That was the shot as well. Yeah. Unlucky to Mopoz. 6-2 right now for Movistar Riders. Strong start into the game. And again, this is the Sinners map pick of Vertigo. I brought up the point a couple of days ago where everybody was saying, you know, the common story around this team, the Sinners roster, was how good they are on Vertigo. They played it 14 times up until that point. They played it a few more times since then, but it was only 50-50 on map wins, and sometimes it wasn't even consistent about who they were beating, and it wasn't even just the best teams they were playing against. They were losing to some Tier 3 opposition. It's not exactly the same comfort pick as it was for Sinners once upon a time.
Yeah, more towards the start of the year, they were beating almost everybody on this map, including top-tier teams. So,
but don't worry, Movistar Riders don't take any strats from other teams, so they obviously weren't looking at the demos of Sinners.
Sure, yeah. And for Movistar Riders, this is a map that they did play a fair bit recently. They played it at IEM Full. We talked about it previously, being the cider map against this team in the best of 1.
The downfall of the Czech major race. Swing momentum for the Spanish. And Alex is going to catch Neofrag with the back turned. Nice opening here from Movistar Riders. What's the response here from Sinners? Are they even going to find one? That's the question. Bit of a gap here in this B-Star smoke, but Deaths is in a good spot. He's also got Davi G to pull attention away. Zedko was blinded, so he won't have heard that shot.
Still out in the open on ramp. Even after dying last round, he's willing to play the dangerous game.
This time he's got the M4A1S.
He has got the M4A1S this time. I can confirm. I have got my glasses back on. We're all good.
Do love that skin. It's a nice little Vietnam War style skin. It's
underrated.
Nice. Yeah, it's got a little hippie skin on it.
Well, 50 seconds remaining. We've got a boost going on, and this is a really nice way to peer over to short.
Now, this should get you a follow-up kill, right?
You'd hope so.
Oh, let's see if they're ready for it on the center side.
It's so hard to be ready for this angle.
Oh, it's such a difficult angle, yeah, just to be ready and predict that. And so for that, they lose another player, and Sinners are now down 2 members, 29 seconds left. They're trying to do the full execute in towards the site, but Mopaz knows because they have the advantage, they have an expendable player, and you could take some risks. You can stay in front of those smokes, and Mopaz is certainly going to have some fun alongside Alex as another kill comes in for him. Close the round 7-2. Movistar Riders looking like the better side right now. Sinners had a very strong performance in their losers best of 3 when we seen them last time in this bracket. A very different team now, and the Sinners had a very rough start into today. They played Entropic and did not have a great time at all. They got toyed with, in fact, by the Entropic side.
It was similar to this, where they only got 2 T rounds in total and they lost 16-2. And they're starting T side here. They're struggling again. I love that Movistar had the awareness of what they wanted to do after they boosted there. They put that smoke down towards the front of the site because they realized that Sinners could keep them trapped in short. So by smoking the front of the site, they can get back behind it. They can stop that bomb plant. Sinners thought it was safe. It was very much not. And this round is not looking safe for Sinners either. In fact, it's looking easy for Movistar Riders against the Pistols.
Starting to chop them up into pieces. More pause through the smoke onto Neofrag. And Neofrag's always the player we talk about as the second man in charge. He was the player leading the way today.
Yes.
When we talk about Oscar being the star of the team, he was quiet this morning. He's quiet right now. Hasn't really been the same Oscar we have come to expect.
Oh, he's even letting them go by. Davy G actually gets cleared by Oscar. It's a bit of that veteran savvy there. The dink onto the site would have been nice, but I think that has now taken away their chances.
Oscar did post a 1.17 rating in the play-in stage of this tournament against a weaker opposition. Neofrag was the second highest rated player in the play-in, qualifying to the stage of the main event. 1.35 rating from him. We've got to see those two players really start to deliver something. And Zedko was another player that overperformed during the play-in. We've got to see just that collection of players start to rise up here and give us a little bit of a fight out of Sinners. And here comes a bye to see if they can do it.
Including that AWP on Oscar. Sometimes it can be tough as the AWPer of the team when you just keep losing rounds. You don't get that sniper out as consistently as you would want. This is a chance for Oscar to play for picks. And on Vertigo, you're normally going to be looking around the ramp for those early kills. Oscar is indeed hanging around right now.
Yeah, and I think they've got to deal with that threat of Mopaz. He's been very good in towards these ramp fights.
And always finding ways to be a nuisance. Playing the same position, waiting for the smoke to come back up to keep him safe. The AWP will now come into position for Movistar Riders. Some Pius can post up on the angle. Mopple's here to support with the molly. That will hopefully help this AWP get established on this very strong angle. You really need to use some nades to get some Pius off that position. Otherwise, it should be a free kill.
They still have a smoke right now as well, so I think they're just going to wait on contact for some Pius, try and smoke on time, but for Sinners, it's got to be an explosive play now, and some Pius, he'll get the first pick. They don't flash him off. Now comes the smoke, but Mopaz luckily gets traded out by Shock. The quietest performer earlier today. He's had an impact kill in this round. We'll see if they can convert it into the round win. Oscar, good trade in towards short. Alex gets overrun. Now some Pius again. His second kill of the round. Davy G's turn to swing out from elevator to try and push forward to the bomb plant. He's going to get it. He's going to get the kill, but not deny the bomb plant. And Oscar into the clutch. Just not enough. Some Pius with a 3K. Just changing up his position. Standard style of play. And it's effective because Sinners don't punish him.
Well, Oscar's AWP did get a couple of kills, but he still got left in that 1v2 scenario. You'll see oftentimes Oscar left in those late round positions, but he had to commit fairly far up to help the bomb get planted in the first place. So leaves him exposed, leaves him vulnerable. Leaves Movistar Riders with a 9-2 lead. In case you have just joined us, this was Sinner's map pick here in this best of 3.
Why have you got to do them like that, Hawker?
Look, I'm just stating facts. I'm not judging. I'm not saying anything else.
It has been a very, very slow start. And I think, you're coming into this, Sinners obviously know that they lost Vertigo to the Movistars. It's going to be something in the back of their head. Just the fashion that they did so close, 16-14, and it was the turning point in their major campaign. And since that point, I don't think the Sinners have really looked like the same team. Every event we've seen them in, whether it be qualifiers for the likes of DreamHack Opens or events like this, when in the play-ins, they're struggling against some weaker teams, and the usual online cups that they play, they just have not looked like the same team at all since that point, Hawker. And Movistar Riders were the team that caused them to go into that downward trajectory. They've got to dig deep and find their way back into a map pick that is so usually comfortable for them. Oof. And they've lost so much health at the beginning of the round. They're about to lose their first player.
Dry peek into mid. Sumpires will take those all day long, and Alex playing a similar position. They just can't deal with that angle right now.
This is a gun round, and it's completely shut down. 2 players left for the T side, and they're surely going to join the rest of their perished teammates. It's just Neo Fry. 1v5, he'll try his best, but what can you really expect out of the young gun here? He'll drop himself back down into ramp to try and recover the bomb, but there's still 4 players to try and find. And Davy is the next to challenge him. Gets the info of his whereabouts, knowing that he has dropped back towards the bottom of the ramp hoods. He's going to start peeking, but this time it's not just 1 player up there, it's 2. And Alex will be the man to collect the headshot. 10 rounds as Movistar Riders hit double figures.
Looking like a real strong bounce back right now from Movistar Riders, who lost their opening game against Enterprise 16-11. Another upset here.
Yeah, and that game was shocking to me, really. I thought the Movistar Riders were going to put up a much better fight, but a lot of those players were very quiet. Davy G in particular pointed out, but he's had some good rounds at the beginning of this game.
I think you can see the comfort level for Movistar Riders on Vertigo, which is why this was always a scary pick for Sinners. This is a map that Movistar Riders really enjoy playing. I think it also can suit some of the different setups they like to throw in every now and then, where they will just stack 3A or even 3 towards B sometimes. This time it looks a little more standard though, and the pistol's ready to push into B.
It's going to be a quick round to try and test that. He's done well. They haven't actually checked him. Finally, he will be overwhelmed. Oscar coming in with the Glock. A little bit of a fumble between Davy G and Alex there, but luckily neither of them have gone down. Bomb not planted yet for Sinners, and that is the main goal, to try and get the bomb planted here, to get some cash in the bank, because they are really struggling, and now they're floundering, they're losing players. It's just Shock and Oscar left. Oscar did get an AK-47 into his hands, but he's really got to hope Shock can help him out. Nice shot with an Eagle. And Oscar is now looking to the left side of the generator. No shock therapy in this one. Davy G and Mopos take down 2. And it will be another round from Movistar Riders, up to 11. And you talk about the map pool, Hawkett. Sinners did show that they're proficient on Nuke. Back at IM4, they were able to play some great games on that one. We got to see them really test a lot of rosters, in particular complexity. And against Movistar Riders, they banned Nuke every single time in the first rotation. They did that today, too.
It just seems like a tough matchup for Sinners map pool-wise. I don't think they can find that comfort ground, that one map where they feel like they can get consistent success against them all. Smoke down into ramp. That is the standard ramp smoke that people should be learning at home, but it's Oscar who's able to spot over the top of it. And Mobos, who has been dominating the ramp position, has finally been stopped early.
And that's one of the win conditions we set up. They need to find a way to stop Mopos, and they've done it. He's out of the round. See if they can convert this now into a round win. There are 2 left up for grabs at the end of this first half. If Movistar Riders are going to have a test, Sinners have got to win these 2 rounds here. If they want to have any say in their own map pick, they've got to win the last 2.
Movistar are doing a pretty solid job at keeping their utility here, though. Even though it's a 4v5, and you may feel like you need to go for aggressive plays, if Sinners run a slow round right now and you just hold on to your utility, that could make all the difference, and you could still be in a fine position.
Shock is about to walk out middle with a bomb on his back. Oscar will join him in his attack from mid. Let's see if it'll be a fruitful endeavor, as Dets needs to get the timing. His teammates down, Davy G out of the round. But look at the timing from Dets. How does he hit that first and then transfer onto the second? Didn't even look like he meant to get shot, but the shot lands. And Dets back in with a 3K, living up to his name, providing depth everywhere on the server. 4K and a massive hype up from the coach, because Dets with a huge round Movistar Riders have broke the back of Sinners now, surely at this point. 12-2 at the half so far, and one more round in play. Will it be 13 for the Movistar Riders, or will Sinners scrap together with third? Either way, it's going to be rough for the Sinners from this point onwards.
It's been a real team effort for Movistar Riders here. This is the kill from Alex. B-Stick baited in by the smoke, and then I thought the timing for deaths was going to go against him there because he jiggled off construction and didn't spot those players on mid.
It looked like it.
But it meant that Sinners actually overlooked that position as he re-peaked. And because he had a teammate also rotating in on the other side of mid, it worked out so nicely for Movistar Riders. The protocols all in place right now for the CTs, and it could well be on for a 13-round half. Alex keeps holding this angle and they keep not clearing it, but this time they snuck by.
Oh, they have got up short. I don't know if they're going to be ready for this. Smopos has no idea. B-Stick could crack open the round right here. Smoke has allowed him into it. Oh, B-Stick, he knows he's got a player there. He's trying to get around the backside. Suppliers, and that is exactly the kill that B-Stick wanted, to try and cut off that rotation through elevator. But Mopos, he's got himself in a smoke. He somehow nearly doubles up. But Alex still alive, still kicking and preventing the Sinners from having a comfortable round. The B play from Deaths has gone aggressive, and Zetko the victim of it. 3 versus 2 right now for the Sinners, and the bomb is dropped. Alex from Sandbikes just delivering everything. As much as my friends tell me that's not a good position, I watch players time and time do this again, Hawker. Maybe it's just something to do with me. 13-2 half. Movistar Riders completely dominate the Sinners. They're now 3 away from taking victory on their opponent's map pick.
I'm surprised we didn't see more nades put into Sandbags at some point, or just a molly over the top, something to try and get him out of that position, because he had so much impact from those Sandbags. It's such a shame for B-Stick too that he's not able to have an AK, for example, there, because then maybe he can turn around for another quick headshot. But the way it works out, he catches off the rotate and then can't make the most out of it. His teammates were trying to commit with him, but they didn't get to assist him in time.
It seemed like Sinners never really got to play ramp control or play that standard A default. They just felt suffocated entirely by Movistar. There was no real threat from it either. They didn't try and throw a deep smoke behind the initial T-smoke down ramp. And so you never really seen anybody challenging up through short, trying to put pressure onto some of the riflers. And anytime they did get beyond the smoke, it felt like Movistar was just dominating them on that individual front. But it's a quick pistol start here from the Spanish side. Mopos is off to a great start, showing that he will be proficient on the ramp, even on this T side of affairs. He's got the USP in his hand now after claiming that from the corpse of his fallen victim. A couple of more kills from his teammates coming in, and just Zetko as Movistar Riders dominate the pistol. It's not looking so good here for the Czech side. They really got to check themselves before they wreck themselves, Hawker.
Easy pickings here for Movistar Riders. They haven't even had to really pick the fruit from the tree. They've just been sitting under it, and it keeps falling into their laps, it feels.
Yeah, for
just so easy.
They're getting knocked out by coconuts, just flying. There we go, Zetko. It's going to swing, Mopos in with a headshot. 14 rounds for the Movistar Riders. Just a couple more, and they're done deal. Sinners, ooh, they have just really got to dig deep. And this is not going to be a happy performance if they go out in this tournament this early on. Would have been, at least it's better than minutes in the main event. They were faced elimination in the play-in. Just a reminder for everybody that home is tuning in. I did drop this little tidbit during the play-ins, but Oscar actually is an ex-MVP of this event. He won in 2018. With the V4 Future Sports Festival. He won it with Mouse Sports, one of the competitions, one of the 4 trophies he was able to pick up with that side. He won ESL1 New York, V4 Future Fest 2018, Star Series, and ESG in Mykonos.
And a couple of his teammates on his team now were actually playing on some of the weaker squads at that event. So it just goes to show Oscar has taken a backseat, getting back into the Czech scene. Definitely still a very capable player, but unfortunately we haven't seen it here today. Movistar Riders have already got the 2 openers in this round, and this is a full investment from Sinners. They're just clutching at straws at this point, trying to hopefully win something with the pistols. The B plays at the ready.
Oh, Oscar trying to play in and around the smoke. He will get overrun and overwhelmed as Neofrike comes in with a kill on Deaths. Oscar's out, though. Everybody on the CT side are floundering, looking for opportunities back into this, but Movistar Riders will commit to the site. They'll put the bomb down in its rightful place. And Neofrike is hoping that an opportunity presents itself, and nearly gets caught on the way down construction. Sound cue of the Deagle was enough to try and get a few bullets whizzing past him and after him. But map point now for Movistar Riders. They were 16-14 at IM fault. It's now 15-2 for Movistar Riders.
I'm sure people at home can relate to how hard it can be to try and come back in these scenarios when you're just losing every round. You just feel like you can't even get the map control.
Oh, yeah. So it's a tough challenge to, when you're getting so dominated, you have a slow start. It's just hard to grab your way back into it. Even Gambit earlier, you know.
Yeah.
They off to a very slow start, but they were able to squeeze their way back through.
It's a scenario where even if you may have some ideas as to how to counter what is going wrong for you, it can be really difficult to execute those ideas properly because you need the confidence in the team to say, hey, we're going to do this, guys. Let's go for a fast play. Let's go for this. It's hard to get that back into the team sometimes. 15-2, Movistar Riders with a chance for a convincing shutout on the first map of this series.
So far today, Sinners have won 4 rounds. Let's see if they can get a little bit more squeezed out. A good start is eliminate the aggressive play of Davi-G, and they're going to execute here Movistar Riders. They're going to try and get their way in towards this B site. Sinners have got to make the rotations necessary to try and mount a defense. Let's see if it holds water. Will Nopod break open the dam? He can't find a kill, so Shock has come through. The MP9 has delivered a crucial frag, and Movistar Riders now dwindling in attacking players. Finally, Dad's going to try and equalize those numbers. He's pulled the players back within touching distance, and here comes Neofrag. Reinforcements, the cavalry save the day as Sinners go to 3.
Yeah, quite a telegraphed take there from Movistar Riders when you throw those smokes so soon alongside some mollies. It's going to take a good bit of time before you can actually start pushing up to the bomb site. And so Sinners were able to rotate over, but I think Shock deserves a lot of credit playing behind that default box there. Just putting that defensive smoke down, surviving for a really long time. That's what bought time for those rotates so that Neofrag could come in. You saw Mopos trying to entry onto that player behind the default box, but because he survived, his teammate was able to get an easy kill. Good to see some signs of success for Sinners. Let's see if they can keep it up.
Davi-G peeking up in towards short. Is dropped back in behind the smokes now.
You already see the early pressure, though, with that Nafany smoke and just not giving ramp away for free.
And that amazing short smoke as we look at it fade away in the sky. But yeah, it's Neofrag this time is about to swing on out. Mopos, quick kill with a Mac-10 as Alex with the follow-up. And Oscar gets overrun. Nice vertical headshot coming in from Simpias as we now look at a 3 versus 2 for Movistar Riders. They hold the advantage. They haven't quite taken the site yet, though, so they're going to be waiting for the rest of the forces group up. Take a look at the smokes available, just the one, so they are going to rely on that one smoke to be placed wall and then the flashbangs to create the extra space they need.
Smoke down, but Shock will leave the site, trying to fake that there's more presence on A than there actually is. Trying to funnel Movistar Riders back towards this B bomb site, but I don't think the T's are biting right now. So eventually, one of these Sinners players will have to start looking back towards A. And it is Shock who is tasked with doing that. The AK could be the best weapon for the job here on the hold, though. A quick headshot would go a long way to have a good chance for a multi-kill.
Shock has got to knock them out of the round. He's going to try his best as he taps away one. That's not going to be enough. Setko now with everything on his shoulders. Sinners have improved upon their earlier scoreline, but just by 1. It's their map pick here in elimination, and they're about to go down 16-3 unless Setko can pull them out of this hole. They can keep them alive and put them on the life support. He's got 1, but that will not be enough as Movistar Riders pull the plug. 16-3 win for the Spanish sides. They show up in the elimination game. Sinners really struggling against what is quickly becoming their nemesis, Hawker.
Yeah, clearly. And this was the tough thing in this series for Sinners. I don't think they have a clear map that they can go straight to, that they can feel confident in. Movistar Riders, meanwhile, looking very comfortable in this series right now. Invited team were our favorites heading into this matchup, but I think we all assumed Sinners would be able to put up at least a decent fight, and so far that might not be the case.
Yeah, when you look at the team list originally here for V4 Future Sports Festival, you see Sinners on the list of the play, and you're like, this is a team that's surely locked into the main event. This is a team that can really do some damage to our invited teams, but it hasn't been the same Sinners we've been used to seeing over the past few months, and it is sad to see, but they're now 1 map away from being eliminated.
Exactly. It's not been the performance they would want, but I'm hoping for their sake they can bounce back, because Movistar Riders, I mean, they're a tough team to play on Vertigo. It's not like a scenario where you're playing against a team who barely play Vertigo and you've just been smashed by them. Movistar are a good team on this map, so hopefully they can reset. That can be harder to do sometimes on land, though. It's a completely different beast from playing at home.
Yeah, and Inferno's not an easy map either to play against Movistar Riders. There's more on that and much more to break down, whatever there is to break down on map 1 at Vertigo. That'll be coming up after the break with James, Spice, Stralon, and Yanko. You guys do not want to miss it. We'll be back with the V4 Future Sports Festival.